What's up? Welcome back to the garden. We're gonna have a little look around and see what's going on. Summer is in full swing, albeit the weather's not been too great, but things are growing really well and we're gonna have a little peek and show you some exciting things. The alliums around the edge of the pond have come and gone. These were a fantastic display actually. We had all different varieties, all different colours. These ones here were mad, but they've been and gone now. These are getting replaced by these wonderful pink Senorita zinnias. And this was the grassy area last year, which in the last video it was still being made into beds. And as you can see now, we've got a whole host of different teepees which were growing climbing beans, runner beans, and then we've got a row of brassicas which has been planted in here. We've got cabbages, cauliflowers, we've got some purple sprouting towards the end, and then we've got another row of bush beans planted in there. Garbanzo beans, these are chickpeas, a black variety from Italy. This hazel structure was used to grow peas, and as you can see it's like these little thin branches, and that gives the perfect place for the tendrils just to latch onto, which I found to be much better than growing them around the string. The peas really enjoyed latching onto these. And then we've got corn, so we've got 3 different plantings of corn in the garden, and corn can cross-pollinate quite quickly, quite easily because it's wind pollinated. So what I've done is I've staggered the sowing, so I put corn out, planted, and then 2 weeks later the next batch, and then again 2 weeks later the next batch, and that kind of like helps to stop the cross pollination, which can sometimes make the corn a little bit bitter or starchy. Then this row here was home to beetroot, which have been harvested. This is all going to be planted out with kale, which I have ready to go out. Then we have all of our multi-sown leeks, celery. Then over here we have courgettes. The famous courgettes, when they start pumping, you can never get rid of them quick enough. And in a blink of an eye, they're absolutely massive. I actually went through these and harvested them all yesterday. This is a very exciting crop. These are edamame beans. You can harvest them young as edamame, or you can like let them grow on and harvest them as like mature soybeans, which, yeah, they're really good for a whole host of different things. And you can even like make your own tofu or your own soy milk with growing your own soybeans. So that's a very, very cool thing to be growing. Over the back here, we've got baby corn. So these are going to produce those small little cobs that are perfect in stir fries. Never grown these before, not sure how they grow. So yeah, very interested to see. They are quite small at the moment. We've got some really nice bush beans. These are an Italian variety called Maravel di Piedmont, which is an alpine region on the Italian-French border in the mountains. And these beans are really quick to mature, and they are really soft and tender. Even at that big stage, they're just like butter. Incredible, incredible bean, super tasty. We've got a little experiment going on over at the back. Here we have some outdoor melons. So they're just any old melon, which I'm deciding to grow outdoors. Thinking about it, maybe being on such an exposed site, it would have probably been best to let these guys sprawl along the floor instead of growing up these strings. But listen, we're going to try it out and see what happens. This here is a cassava. So really interested to see how that grows. The leaves are incredible. They're really soft. It's almost like fur. But yeah, they produce these really dark purple growing tips, and then they slowly fade to this really nice green, and it's absolutely massive. I'm going to be super intrigued to see what we pull up when we harvest that. This here is collard greens. Really like collard greens. We've got 4 different varieties in there. And it's just a really nice green to be able to come out and pick and snap off and harvest, rather than cabbages, which you have to harvest the whole head. So it's, yeah, just treat it like kale, but it's much more cabbagey. So I'm a big fan of collard greens, perfect on a Sunday roast. Then we've got new sowings of multi-sown beetroot, and these are scallions, which are not spring onions. Scallions are a perennial non-bulbing onion. So you cut them at the base, they're going to grow back year after year. Much sweeter, softer taste than other ostentatious alliums. So yeah, what we know today as spring onions is actually Allium cepa, like a regular bulbing onion, which is grown and then harvested when young and immature. So a lot of people don't actually know what the true taste of a scallion is like, and they are so good. So would highly recommend growing scallions. We've got 3 polytunnels this year. I think last time in the video these weren't even finished. So in the new polytunnel number 1, we have tomatoes. So we had a big storm last night. I thought I'd put the onions inside to keep them nice and dry, and as you can see, they've just been absolutely trashed. So have to sort that out afterwards. But yeah, this is home to tomatoes. We've got a whole host of different varieties in here. These are really mad. These ones are called Phil's 1, and we also got Phil's 2. And then we've got Reese Tomate, and these are these traveller tomatoes. So they form these crazy little clusters, and people would put them in their pocket and rip off a little bit of tomato and eat it. And because they're in these bunches and these clusters, they wouldn't actually leak or spill out, so they could just pop them back in the pocket and off they went. And then we have this wonderful sauce tomato. Looks like a massive peachy bum. And I've been watching this one now just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I can't wait for it to go red so I can cut it off and test it, because that is one incredible tomato. The variety actually is called Cor Atico di Aquitermi. I've probably butchered that, but yeah, it's a very, very rare, unusual heirloom tomato, and I think it's well suited for making sauces. Then we'll step into the new polytunnel number 2. Now we've got a lot of different things going on in here. We've got ground cherries or physalis. These are 2 varieties growing next to each other. This we have here is the West Indian burr cucumber. And it's very similar to what this is, which is a Mexican sour gherkin, or a, yeah, and they form like tiny little, they're called cucamelons. They form tiny little watermelon-esque type fruits. And so this is very similar to that, but it's got a hairy, furry type skin on it. Next we have Zapatilla, which is an ancient exploding cucumber, which should come with a health warning because it actually will fire off a load of spikes when the fruits are fully mature. And its leaves are a dead ringer for another plant, if you ask me. Next we have tomatillos. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different varieties of tomatillos, all different colors and shapes. Some of them form long yellow torpedoes. Some of them are like going to be purple with green and like red splashes. So a whole host of different tomatillos. I've only ever tried the green ones, so yeah, can't wait to get stuck into these. At the back here we have, this is a Litachi berry, and it is a member of the Solernum family, so the same as the aubergines and tomatoes, but as you can see, it's a very vicious looking plant. It's got huge spikes all over it, produces these wonderful flowers though, they're like a starfish. I haven't never grown this before. I don't know what it's going to be when it matures, but look forward to trying that. And this is a safflower, which they also known as poor man's saffron. Never grown that before, interested to try. And these are various types of ancient Italian cucumber, which is more closely related to a melon. And as you can see, they have this like tiny little furry jackets on them. Really furry little guys. And even when they're big, they still stay furry. Now we have just some regular different cucumbers growing in here, which didn't have room to fit in the main polytunnel. We have some various bits growing over the back. We have a snake bean, we have a Cubano jelly melon, which I grew last year. So this bed by the shed is home to carrots. I've been harvesting them. I'm probably going to clear the majority of those carrots and then re-sow a second sowing of carrots ready for a later harvest. So if we take a look in the shed, we've got quite a lot going on in here. Mainly I'm just using this for drying and curing. We do have a few plants. I've got the kales that have been growing on in pots that need to get planted out. These are looking nice. But curing wise, we have our garlic on the back shelf. This variety is Morado de la Padrona. It's a fantastic Spanish variety. And look at these incredible purpley marbled jackets they're in. And they taste delicious. Really good variety. And then we're just curing our onions. These were outside, but I've brought them inside because of the bad weather. If we do have any days of sunshine, I will bring them back outside for a couple of days. But these are happily dry in here. Really nice variety that I would recommend growing is Rose de Roscoff. Fantastic, like silvery pink shimmer to these and wonderful taste, whether eaten raw or cooked. And then shallots. If you don't grow shallots, they bring a whole different level of onion flavor to the game, much lighter than other big robust onions. This one here is Echalot Grise, grey shallot, and this one is Longor. It's like a type of banana shallot. We haven't had a look inside the big polytunnel where things are really ramping up and it looks like a rainforest. So if you want to come and have a look inside of this polytunnel here, I'm going to be doing a product review for Premier Polytunnels. So you want to check out that video. It's just up there. You can bang that and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.